Welcome to Type C Tech Reviews. Today we're going to be unboxing the Samsung Neo G8. If at any point during the video you want to check out this exact same monitor, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. But let's get this thing unboxed. All right, a 32-inch 4K resolution, a very curved 1000R screen. And guys, if you like bright displays, this is claiming 2,000 nits, 240 hertz. This monitor has it all in a 32-inch screen size. Let's see if Samsung can actually pull it off. All right, so right in the box, we've got an installation guide, and then we've got a whole lot of stuff in this bag right here. A DisplayPort cable, a power cable that's like an off-white kind of gray, very cool. A USB Type B, and then a white charging brick. That is a big power brick right there, as expected. All right, and then here looks like a VESA mount bracket. And yes, that's a VESA mount bracket. So this mounts to the back of the stand, and then this gives you a VESA mount. Kind of, I mean, it's all metal, but it's just interesting for a monitor like this. Not what I would have expected. Then here, this may be some cable management or something. Looks like it's just like going to be a cover or something like that, okay. We then have the base of the stand right here, and here is the base of the stand. Now, honestly, for a monitor that's $1,500, this feels pretty cheap. It is all, I believe it's plastic, a very strong plastic, but still, yeah, I believe this is all just a solid piece of plastic. A little bit weird for a monitor this expensive, but let's keep going. And then this is the height adjustable part of the stand, very thin for a 32-inch monitor, incredibly thin actually. All right, so here is the stand. Whoa, okay. Very interesting thing here. Never actually seen this before. So I thought that this was a clip-in stand. I was wondering why they have these taped. This is the screws. So they have the screws sitting in the back so they're ready to go, which is cool, but it's also not a clip-in stand. Kind of weird. Also, I will say, as you can see right here, this like goes back and forth. That is common for $200, $300 monitor stands or monitors that have height adjustable stands, but something like this, yeah, that's a little worrying. And then not a clip-in stand, kind of weird. All right, but let's get these two together to do this. We're gonna set them like that, and then it's not even a hand tighten screw. Samsung, what are you doing? I don't know if I've ever bought from Samsung and then overall been incredibly happy with the monitor before. I was hoping I was going to be with this one. So far, I'm not impressed. All right, so now putting the stand together, after I have my screwdriver, screwing this in. You know, they always say first impressions are very important. Yeah. They're important. All right, so for the plastic, we're gonna peel this off. It looks like a glossy white. There we go. I mean, it's nice looking, but overall, this part of the stand, I don't think it really matches that well. And the fact that this, I don't like that. But none of that matters if the display is fantastic, so let's get all this off. And before we do, almost missed this right here, we have kind of a back plate to kind of hide the cables. I believe that's what it's for, also in all gloss white, which is kind of cool. So far, that stand, I'm not liking it. All right, let's lift this off. And there is the back of it, insanely curved and covered in plastic, ready for us to pull that off. An absolutely beautiful back to the monitor, so that they do well. I love this white, it's absolutely stunning. All right, but let's get the stand onto the monitor. It's actually gonna go this way. All right, so placing this here, I believe that this goes somewhere on here, right? Okay, so this comes apart and then back together. So I believe this goes on here like that, I believe. But first connecting the main stand. So literally just put it in there and then screw it in. Then connecting these pieces. All right, and there we go. Now it's all connected. Not really that sturdy or locked in, but kind of weird. All right, let's take this out. And guys, look at that. That is quite a monitor. This makes me nervous holding it like this. Let's get it on the desk. An absolutely ridiculous looking monitor. The curve is absolutely massive, 1000R. That is a very curved display. We got a bunch of plastic around the outside, so let's take all that off. I was expecting it to be glossy over here, but it's actually matte. I prefer that. But a very curved display. And then some more on the front. Very, very pretty. Nice little accents, and I think there's some RGB there. I believe. An overall very pretty monitor. But the stand, come on, man, that is subpar quality. All right, now pulling the sticker off of the logo. There we go. All right, now right away, on the desk, I just wanna say this. Look at this, look at the stand. Look at right here. That is not cool. That's not cool. This should have been metal. For a monitor this expensive, it should have been metal. That's absolutely ridiculous, it's not. So it has swivel. This stand feels so cheap, look at this. It feels so cheap, it's unbelievable. And then height adjustability and tilt. The tilt doesn't even work. Look, watch this. It doesn't stay at the top. What are you doing, Samsung? What are you doing? The stand doesn't even work properly. That's so stupid. Hopefully the actual display is going to be better than the stand. However, let's take a look at the ports really quick. So on this bad boy, we got two HDMIs. I believe that they are 2.1. We then have a display port, a service USB, a USB type B, probably a upstream, and then a USB type A downstream. 3.5mm audio out, that's power connection. Let's see if we have any more USB ports. Looking around this, no more USB ports, so you only have one. I don't know if the service one can also be used just for personal use, but now that it's on the desk, thing looks absolutely awesome. Looks like someone from Star Wars from the back, but the build quality, come on, man. Let's get this thing set up, then we're gonna do an initial impressions, initial gaming impressions, and a ghosting test. Let's do it. All right, guys, and turning on the Samsung Neo G8, I will say the menu system, instead of being a joystick, is 4 buttons and then a middle button. Not cool, guys. I mean, we'll have to see how it works, but I'm gonna tell you right away, it's probably not gonna be good. So clicking on with the middle button, I'm assuming. There we go, Samsung Odyssey. So it doesn't have auto source, interesting. Maybe it does? Yeah, I guess it doesn't have auto source, which is weird. There we go. Okay, so right away it looks awful, although it looks very clear. It's super curved. I just wanna say it's super curved at 32-inch screen size, very curved. On the desktop, it's a little weird, although I've used a 1000R curved 32-inch before, and it takes some time to get used to. Very fun in gaming. However, let's go right into NVIDIA control panel. So first of all, it is at 3840 by 2160, which is obviously 4K. It is sitting at 120 hertz, supposed to be 240 hertz, but it can't output 10 bits of color at 120 hertz. Maybe you have to enable that through the menu system, or can that only be done through HDMI 2.1? I would doubt it, but we'll see. Let's go into the settings. That's picture in picture, power off, and then menu system up here. I hate this menu system. Okay, yeah, so we have to manually change the refresh rate in the settings up to 240 hertz. Let's do that. All right, and now full 240 hertz, very fast. Let's see if it can output 10 bits of color, and it still can, very impressive. So applying that, and we'll see if go to G-Sync, and it is enabled. This is a G-Sync monitor. Okay, so right away, let's go back into the settings, go up to menu. This isn't too bad, it's just very slow, and it shakes the monitor a lot. I don't really like it, but all this is very clear, and it is nicer than what you would expect from their more budget monitors, which is a different one. So this is nicer. I do appreciate this, how clean it is. So it looks like in your response time settings, you can adjust them with refresh rate to 240 hertz, although that'll be in the full review. Adaptive sync is on, which is G-Sync. That's interesting. You have a low input lag mode. I'm assuming the low input lag is gonna be at 120 hertz, not 240, which is interesting. Then you have the infinity lighting core. We can turn the lighting on, front and back. Let's turn it on, and it came on. You can see it's actually pretty dim. Interesting. So it's not that bright. Actually, that's very dim. What the heck? Again, I don't know if this is gonna be able to be changed, but if it's not, that's pretty dang dim. Not impressed so far. Okay, but then let's go down to the picture settings. We are in custom right now. There is custom FPS, RTS. Wow, that is bright. RTS, RPG, sports, sRGB, cinema, dynamic contrast, and then custom. We're just gonna go in custom. We're gonna change the brightness from 44 all the way up to 100%. Turn it up, getting brighter, very bright. That's pretty bright. Although obviously not 2000 nits, it's not in HDR, but let's keep going down. So we have contrast, sharpness, color, stuff like that. You get a bunch of stuff that you can adjust. Let's go down, picture in picture, picture by picture, on-screen display, some volume, stuff like that. So auto source switch is off as default, which is a little weird. So we're gonna turn that on. All right, now let's test the brightness out in SDR. So we're gonna go in here. I just wanna test the brightness right away. Obviously the display hasn't warmed up or anything, so take this with a grain of salt. Full data will be in the review. But right away, only 310 nits. So that's what your eye is actually going to see. Pretty strange for something that is claiming 2000 nits. Maybe that's only in HDR. And honestly, that's probably just going to be a very small window of the screen. However, let's do HDR to see what it can do right away. Okay, so basically there is a lot of stuff going on. A lot of like dynamic contrast software stuff inside of this. A lot of different stuff going on. But again, this will be in the full review. Too long for an unboxing video. We can see here in HDR, still only 300 nits. However, a lot of the settings haven't been changed. I haven't messed around with this. This is literally opening it out of the box. The other weird thing that I'm seeing, and again, take all this with a grain of salt, but if you zoom in here, you can start seeing interesting things. I can actually see lines through here. So that may be the sub-pixel layout. I'm not sure if that's what that is. Again, it'll be in the full review. However, right away, everything is incredibly clear, but I'm not incredibly impressed for the price, which is very high. But let's get right into gaming and see how it games. Also, before we actually do that, we're gonna test out to see if the 240 hertz heavily affects the brightness. So we're gonna bump that down to 120, bump it back up to 100% brightness and see how that changes it. It doesn't visually look any different, but there is a lot of light in the room, so we'll see if this is still at, still at 100% brightness. They also might have limited picture modes. They could have done that. So we can actually see here, when we do something like this, when I wanna check white levels, you'll see as soon as it comes up on the screen and I go in full, this is all gray, now it's black. So that is some dynamic contrast stuff going on. You're also seeing it's dark around the corners, so not the best image quality. You can also see the mouse is super dark. There's some stuff going on. I don't know if I like it so far. You can see Windows is incredibly dark up here, and then it's gonna get really bright. So yeah, there's some interesting stuff going on, but we'll see if that changes it in 120 hertz. Nope, doesn't change it substantially. But again, so far not at all impressed. All right, so as Battlefield 1 does, it goes automatically to HDR. So we are gonna be gaming in HDR. Just letting you guys know. The menu looks absolutely awful. I cannot see anything. All right guys, hopping right in game, I will say right away that sky is absolutely gorgeous. You can see a lot here. That is super bright. All of this is still very clear. So the high dynamic range is definitely working. It is, I will say, it is a very stunning experience. Yeah, I'm gonna say that, okay? So everything that I just felt before, it's kind of melted away. This is a really, really, really pretty monitor, wow. Incredibly clear as you would expect. The curve is substantially curved, obviously, and you notice it, and it's beautiful. However, when they claim 2000 nits, it sets your expectations very high, which honestly, if you ever hear that, it should be lower because it's only gonna be a 1% window, something very small. However, actually in game, the high dynamic range, I mean, look at when you look up into the sky, especially in a game like Battlefield, when there is a lot of contrast. Battlefield has a ton of contrast and everything is incredibly clear. Everything here is incredibly clear and the game is just absolutely stunning. It's absolutely incredibly smooth, 240 hertz. The input lag feels very, very fast, but that's obviously just from feeling. All the actual testing will be in the full review. An absolutely incredible gaming experience. Those explosions were super bright and then quickly dark. I mean, just beautiful. Worth 1,500 bucks? It's nice. I don't know if I could get myself to spend 1,500 bucks, keep a monitor that has a stand like that though. That's a tough sell for me. You can see, especially when we look up into the sky, it just gets incredibly bright, but still maintains a lot of clarity in the darker areas of the screen. A very beautiful experience, and a tank just came out of nowhere. Look at this, guys, just stunning. It's also incredibly immersive because of this 1000R curve, which you would expect from 1000R curve. And being 32 inches, it is fairly large, although recently I have been very accustomed to very large screens. But the clarity in everything is just stunning. It makes you want to stop and just look, especially in a spot like this. Absolutely beautiful. Now, as far as ghosting, it doesn't really look like I'm honestly not sure about the ghosting. It could be crystal clear, it could have a little bit of ghosting, but it does not look like it has a lot of ghosting. However, we're about to test that now, right after getting that kill. We're gonna end on a good note. All right, guys, so fun and so absolutely beautiful. All right, let's test the ghosting. I went from very dissatisfied to very satisfied very quickly, but again, full review, that's still a lot of money, even for an amazing gaming experience. I will say that I cannot stand this kind of stuff. When the screen goes really dark, it just like darkens the screen completely. Very annoying to me, although there's been a few other monitors that have done that. The brightness constantly changing, it's incredibly annoying. Okay, so up right on the screen, kind of what I expected. A very, very, very small amount of ghosting, but it's a little bit interesting. So first of all, there's quite a bit of pixel overshooting for a monitor that's this expensive, okay? There was very little ghosting, but a little bit of pixel overshooting or inverse ghosting, which means that they basically over-tuned it, so they didn't tune it perfectly. However, let's go into the settings. I don't know if we can actually change the response time settings at 240 hertz. Yeah, so you cannot change the response time settings at 240 hertz. We're gonna check if having maybe adaptive sync, G-Sync on affects that. We're gonna go back in here. Okay, so when you turn adaptive sync off, it locks your refresh rate to 240 hertz, and then it allows you to change the response time settings. That is stupid, which means you're stuck with, at 240 hertz, you're stuck with pixel overshooting or inverse ghosting. Okay, so it's set to fast out of the box. There's some pixel overshooting, a noticeable amount of pixel overshooting. In extreme, there's a very noticeable amount of pixel overshooting. And then in standard, there's still a little bit of pixel overshooting. So it doesn't look like you can ever get rid of pixel overshooting or inverse ghosting. Obviously, I do expect that this would be different at 120 hertz, but I don't even know if you can change that at 120 hertz, but that will be in the full review. So overall, a very small amount of ghosting, not perfect, but standard is absolutely the setting that you want it in. It baffles me that companies like this cannot tune a display like this perfectly and then expect people to pay $1,500 for it, which is crazy. However, the ghosting is, it's good. It's not bad at all, but it's not perfect. But standard is absolutely the best setting to put it in. Never put it in any other setting besides that. However, you can't change it. And let's see if can we turn on FreeSync and then have it stay in that setting? We're actually gonna try it now. Very low pixel overshooting. Then we're gonna go and turn adaptive sync on. Looks like it kept the setting. So maybe you just, I mean, that doesn't look as, maybe it's just me. We'll do that full test, but it looks like there's less pixel overshooting now. I don't know. Okay, again, if you want to check out this monitor, there are Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. This monitor is going to be a long review, so just get ready for that in a few days. But if you want to check out the full review, subscribe below to Type C Tech Reviews, and it will be coming out with the full review very, very soon. But this was Type C Tech Reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next video.